What is up, guys? Rick Kakis here, coming at you with the triple upload, this time showcasing a complete guide for how to beat the Crota challenge mode in the updated Crota's End raid. This is currently the featured weekly raid, and completing this and the other Deathsinger's challenge mode, to which I've already made a guide, annotation will be appearing right now, will gain you special rewards. And so, let's get started. But before we do, guys, if you enjoy this content and want to see more, please remember to support the video by liking, commenting, and especially sharing. It's a simple thing to do, but it really does help me out, and I very much appreciate those of you who do it. Now, the Crota challenge mode. Beating this challenge mode, just like the other one, will get you some special rewards. Those rewards do include, firstly, a unique emblem specific to beating this challenge mode. Secondly, Age of Triumph ornaments that can be applied to any of the new updated sets of raid armor. So if you earn the Age of Triumph ornaments from this raid, you can apply them to your Vault of Glass armor if you wish to do so. And lastly, it does seem that doing these challenge modes has either a guaranteed or an incredibly high chance to get the exotic elemental raid primaries that have been introduced with the Age of Triumph. So that's what you get for beating the Crota challenge mode, but now let's talk about how to actually beat it. Well, in the simplest of terms, how you beat the Crota challenge is that no one can pick up the sword twice. If you touch the sword and it leaves your hands via a multitude of reasons, dropping it on purpose, it despawning, or you dying and then self-reviving, you can never pick up the sword again. A new person will have to pick it up every time. So that is how you complete the challenge mode. However, actually succeeding in this challenge mode is a little bit more complicated than that, and there's also been a bunch of new mechanics added to the updated Crota's End raid. So let's start from the very beginning so that anyone watching this video, no matter if you've done Crota's End before a million times or you've never done it, is on the same page and knows exactly what to do. So you're going to start the Crota's End encounter from this room here. It's the middle room, and you activate this encounter from simply standing on the platform in the very center of the starting room, right next to the giant crystal. When all 6 players are standing here, it will cause the encounter to start and cause a bunch of adds to spawn outside this room. Luckily, to begin with, there is a barrier separating you from the enemies outside. But in only a few seconds, this barrier will go down, and then you want to engage those enemies. However, you don't want to be standing up in the open, and you definitely don't want to be standing somewhere where enemies on both sides can shoot you. And this is because for this entire encounter, you cannot regenerate health. It's one of the mechanics of the Crota encounter. So the only way to gain your health back is to have a specific perk to do it, or to hold the chalice, which we'll talk about in just a sec. Now, once you do kill all of these adds outside the room, you're going to make your way outside of this complex. My team like to go to the left. Your team can go to the right if you really want to. There's no reason to split up. You might as well stay 6 and 6. Once you exit this complex, it's going to cause a little bit more adds to spawn. There's going to be 2 boomers on each side, on each tower that are going to spawn. You want to take these down pretty quickly. Sniper rifles take them down very fast. I was using the Devil's Dawn, and it was only 1 headshot to take them down. And also there will be wizards that spawn soon as well. While your team is taking down these adds, you're going to have one member of your team designated as the sword bearer for the time being. He is going to run down and engage the enemy sword bearer, and killing him will cause him to drop this sword. You pick it up, and that's how you down and kill Crota. Now, right next to the door where the sword bearer spawns, there is an elevated platform with a glowing thing atop it. This glowing thing is very easy to see. It's the chalice. So whoever's the sword bearer, just make sure you grab that as well. Now once the sword bearer is in position, which is usually on the elevated rock platforms on the right or left side of where Crota is standing, so that you're a little bit above everything else, and then you can quickly jump on Crota's platform and get to him and start hitting him with the sword as soon as your teammates down him. The sword bearer is going to call out, "I'm ready," down him or damage him or whatever the cue you guys want to use. At this point, the rest of the 5 fireteam members engage Crota. We found that the sleeper simulant was very, very effective. Snipe rifles are decent, the Galahorn is quite good, but you want to do as much damage as quickly as possible. This is going to lower Crota's shields and cause him to kneel. The second he does this, you want the sword bearer to be right on him and start smacking him with the sword. You're likely able to get 3 big smacks, which is pressing the right trigger on Crota before you're going to need to get the hell out of there, because once he stands back up, he's going to be immune for a little bit, and 1 smack of his sword will kill your sword bearer, which is a huge problem, so don't let this happen. However, once he stands back up, and your sword bearer gets out of the way while still holding the sword, because you're going to be able to get in for another damage phase, it now triggers an oversoul to spawn. These oversouls need to be killed as quickly as possible. They're these massive things in the sky. Now, once your team damages the oversoul enough, it will just die. It'll go away. And if you don't damage it quickly enough, it will wipe your entire team. So definitely pay attention to the oversouls. And they will appear every single time Crota stands up. So be aware of that. In any event, once your team works together to kill the oversoul as quickly as possible, they're then going to immediately turn their attention back onto Crota. At this point, take him down as quickly as possible, and your sword bearer, who should be waiting on the right or left side again, should be able to jump back and get to him as soon as you down him to get more smacks with the sword in. Once he's gotten his 3 smacks in, or however many smacks he could get in that time frame, you actually kind of want it to be 3 smacks. I'll explain why in a sec. Run away again, Crota's gonna stand back up, and another oversoul will again appear. Take that down, and your entire team is going to want to make its way back into the middle where you started this encounter. You're safe here from all of the adds. Crota is going to move to the right or left side, and you just want to avoid that. Eventually, Crota will move back into the middle, and then you're going to come out and do the whole thing over again. Now, the very important part is that, again, you need to switch sword bearers every time. So if that first sword bearer is holding on to the sword the whole 2 times he's able to smack him, great. You switch someone, and then that new person does that same thing for the next time. However, very, very important tip for you guys. You really want to not enrage him. If you get, for the first damage phase, 3 big smacks, and then another 3 big smacks, and then the next person comes and does the same thing, 3 big smacks, and then the next 3 big smacks, you're going to trigger enraged. And that is going to be a huge problem. Like, you basically can't win at that point. So, this is key. Make sure to count your smacks. 6 big right trigger smacks from the first person. The next person only does 5. Make sure to do 3 the first time if you can, and then only 2 the second time, and then get out of there. If you try to get greedy and go for that maximum damage, you're going to trigger his enraged mechanic, and it's going to be a nightmare. So you want to save that whole shebang for the last person doing Crota sword bearing. So again, the first person comes, 6 smacks in total, 3 and 3. The next person comes, only 5 smacks, 3 and 2, and then the last person is where you're going to want to finish Crota off. Now, importantly, after the second sword has despawned, so after 2 damage phases, your entire team needs to make its way under the right, or I suppose the left tower, because there's 2 hallowed ogres that you need to kill. So simply wait for the first one to come out, take it down super fast, and then hang out underneath this tower in the location you see me hang out, and then simply spy and kill that other ogre that spawned on the other side. You don't want to be waiting in the middle or anything because Crota is going to be out and about and really does a lot of damage. Once these two ogres are taken care of, make your way back into the middle, wait for Crota to move, or I suppose you could even wait still underneath one of these towers, but wait regardless until Crota moves back into the middle and then begin the last damage phase. Now for that, importantly, because Crota will be enraged, which causes constant oversouls to spawn, you're going to want to actually ignore the oversoul. So for that last person going up to Sword Bear against Crota, once you take Crota down and he gets those smacks in, and remember he's the last person so he can smack him as many times as he wants, then Crota's going to stand back up, have like a sliver of health, and there's going to be an oversoul. But for this very last damage encounter, ignore the oversoul. Just when you can, down Crota again as quickly as possible while the oversoul is still up. Your sword bearer runs back and finishes Crota off. This is key. Don't switch damage to the oversoul. You'll have more than enough time to down Crota again and finish him off before the oversoul takes out your team. But you might not have enough time if you waste time trying to kill all of these constant spawning oversouls because he is enraged. And one last thing, guys, before I forget, the first sword bearer is going to grab the chalice in the middle of the arena, and then if you hold the chalice, it's going to regenerate your health. Anyone not holding it, again, isn't going to regenerate health. So once the sword bearer comes back after doing the 2 damage phases to Crota, just pass the chalice around to who needs it. If you stand next to someone with a chalice, you can hold square on the PlayStation and then just take the chalice for yourself, regen your health, and someone can take it from you. But make sure that the sword bearers have the chalice. They're going to be the ones that potentially need it when they're damaging Crota. So give it to them before they go and grab the sword and do all of that stuff. And so, quite a lot of mechanics to go over. But I wanted to make sure that absolutely everything was covered in this video, that anyone can watch it and know how to beat this challenge mode. So guys, I hope you enjoyed and found this helpful. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you actually want to be notified of new uploads, be sure to press the bell beside subscribe. Now, if you guys want to support the channel, check out my official merch linked in the description down below. And I will be going and a featured content creator at GuardianCon 2017 in Florida. So if you guys are there wearing my merch, I'll definitely come up and say hello. If you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as well as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. And we are definitely doing featured raid carry streams coming up soon. So again, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.